I'm gonna share this journey with you so I can look back and maybe this can help somebody else to start their journey or look back on it and say, hey, if Steve was able to do it, right? A guy who was arrested at 21, who used to be a complete loser, broke as a joke, went from thrifting to now wholesale and has his own real estate investment, so on and so forth. If he could do it, right? If that idiot could do it, then I could do it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com. Today is August 12th, 2020, and I wanted to give you a handy dandy little update on my new business that I'm starting, which is a wholesale business on Amazon. So if you guys saw my previous video that I posted, I shared that I was starting a wholesale business, and I went into depth in terms of why I'm starting it, why it's taken me so long to start this business, some of the benefits, some of the reasons I'm excited about it. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it up somewhere up there. So be sure to watch that video before you watch this if you're curious why I'm doing this and the reasons behind it, so on and so forth. But in this video, I want to cover 5 things that I've done so far to start my business. This is going to be a very short and concise video. If you do have more questions about why I'm doing certain things, maybe why I'm creating an LLC, why I'm opening up a second account, things I'm going to be sharing, leave a comment down below. I'll be answering all the questions. And also at the end of the video, I'll be sharing a couple of things that I'm going to be doing as well moving forward in this journey. So as you know, starting any new business, there's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of things that you've never done before. There's a lot of limiting beliefs that you have. And for me personally, I find that one of the best things that you can do in order to have the best chance of succeeding when you start a new business is to, one, get yourself accountability, someone that you can, share your journey with, someone who's gonna help keep you accountable when things get tough. And 2, making sure that you have a community or a blueprint or a course or a coach, somebody who's gonna be able to help you to be able to get through those tough times, right? There's a big difference between having accountability versus having a course or a coach. So for me, surrounding myself with like-minded people and getting around people who are already having success is really important, and that's what I've been doing. I've been building a lot of relationships. I've been going through a course. I'll share all of it in this video, but I want to let you know that I'm excited about this new business, and I'm looking at it from more of a long-term perspective. A lot of times when people start a new business, they're thinking about, how can I make money now? How can I get the quickest results? How can I put in 8-10 hours a day right now to get from point A to point B as fast as possible? And my mindset is actually completely different. I'm looking at it from more of a long-term perspective. And right now I'm already running multiple businesses. I've got my hand in quite a few cookie jars. And while I shared in my previous video that I've pulled back on quite a few things, I have a very busy life outside of just work and having a personal trainer and dancing salsa and living here in Miami and having real estate, and we have a warehouse still in Connecticut. So I'm taking this more in bite-sized chunks, which means I'm spending an hour or 2 a day on this business. I'm not going full force, crazy, psycho. And even like I said in my previous video, I'm not gonna be giving you guys these updates every single day. It might be once a week, it might be once every month. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna get into the 5 things that I've done so far, and hopefully this can help you out. So first thing that I did is I named my company. So when you start a wholesale business, you're gonna need to create yourself a company. Now talk to your lawyer, your tax professional about whether you should sign up for or set up an LLC, or if you should set up an S corporation, or however you're gonna go about that. I'm not an expert when it comes to that, but you have to choose a name for your company. And based on a lot of my friends who are successful with wholesale and the course I'm going through, it's best to choose a broad name. So I chose a broad general name that's gonna allow me to be able to get into various niches, right? You might be starting a wholesale business thinking, I'm gonna get into pet supplies, and you call yourself Raiken Pets, Inc. Now you're kind of niched down and boxed into that one specific niche, and you might wanna expand out into other niches. And that's one of the great things about wholesale is you don't have to be super dialed into one category. You can sell pet supplies, you can sell all different types of items, from toys to furniture to household items to electronics. So you don't necessarily have to niche down unless that's your goal. But for me, I went and I chose a name, something very broad. So when you're starting this business, don't get super worried and concerned about what your name is. And this applies to when you set up your Amazon account as well. Just make it really broad. Your LLC or S Corp, it doesn't have to necessarily match up with your Amazon storefront name. If it does, that might help, but it's not a huge deal. But I chose my company name. Secondly, I ended up setting up an LLC, a limited liability company. And when you become a wholesaler, you're gonna need to set up a company and you're gonna need to obtain a resale certificate. So I had to go through I live in Miami now, I had to go through the Department of, somewhere in Florida, I don't know what it was called, but I had to go through some website in Florida and I had to set up my user and sales tax. And once I went through that process, anyone who lives in Florida, just type in how to obtain a resale certificate in Florida. I went through a really great, video on YouTube. There was an accountant who walked you through the entire process. And some of these state websites are just complete nonsense, right? It's almost like these websites were built in the 1940s. They're really hard to navigate. So I finally figured out how to obtain my resale certificate. So that's something that you're typically going to have to show to these brands when you put together and you land a wholesale account. They're gonna wanna see your resale certificate. So then again, you're not gonna have to pay that sales tax as well. So that's something to look into. Make sure you obtain a resale certificate, which I did. I formed a LLC, and to touch on that, there's a couple ways you go about this. You can use a third-party company like LegalZoom. There's other websites out there and you pay like a $500 fee. And then usually on top of that, you have to pay the state fees to set up your company. It's gonna depend upon where you live. The fees are all different. But I went directly to the Secretary of the state and I filed the paperwork and I made the payment. And then it usually takes a couple weeks or so. You get the paperwork, you're able to set up your EIN number, which then allows you to, and that's like similar to a social security number, but for a business. And then you can take that EIN number, go to the bank, set up your business banking. So I took care of all of that. I named my company, I formed my business. I just went directly to the Secretary of the state. I was able to download my resale certificate, which for Florida, I had to set up, I believe it was the user sales tax permit. And there was like a whole bunch of questions you have to answer. They want to know about your business, what type of business it is. There's like 40 or 50 questions. It took a good half hour to fill out, but then I was able to download that resale certificate. And then one thing that you might want to consider if you're watching this video and you're a thrifter or you're selling like items from like garage sales or maybe RA, OA, if you're selling on Amazon right now, or if you have a YouTube channel or you're a public figure and people know your Amazon account, it might be a smart idea to get a second account or to just eliminate everything on that account and only sell wholesale. Because a lot of people don't realize it, but when you're selling on Amazon and you're selling third-party products from thrift stores, maybe from Walmart and Target, or even online arbitrage, sourcing online from different retailers, you don't have those wholesale invoices, and there's a lot of times you get in trouble for like intellectual property, trademark, like all different types of issues. And on top of that, even getting gated off and different things like that happen. But the main concern I'm trying to mention right now is when you're selling items from thrift stores and garage sales, if you don't have the wholesale invoice, you can get in trouble. And there's a lot of issues that could occur with your account, and you don't want to put your wholesale account in jeopardy. Matter of fact, one of my good friends I was talking to, he got his account suspended for 2 days. I think he got it back in 30 hours. But when you're a wholesaler on Amazon and maybe you're carrying 15 or 20 products and you might have 100, 200, 300, 500 of each one of those products in the warehouse. You might have 3, 4, 5,000 products in the warehouse, and you've got these listings that are up and obviously you're sharing the buy box with the other sellers. If you get your account suspended or you get kicked off, those listings are getting pulled down, and you have usually a lot of overhead that you're dealing with in a wholesale business compared to just a retail arbitrage or a thrifting model. So you wanna be really careful, because he had one of his online arbitrage products. It was a medical product that was using, I don't know if it was using the wrong keyword, but the actual product was making a false promise. I forget exactly what it was, but it was a product that had an issue. Amazon didn't like the product and came back and it bit my buddy, and he got his account suspended. So he had to go through this whole recourse of action to fix the problem and deal with Amazon. And these things happen. This is part of running an Amazon business, whether it's a wholesale business or just a third party, thrifting business. But be very careful commingling like thrifted items without wholesale invoices with your wholesale account. So I ended up setting up a second Amazon account. And now I do want to say, if you're going to set up a second Amazon account, you need to get permission. And typically Amazon's only going to let you set it up if you have a good enough reason, such as you're creating another business or another brand. And even at times, they won't even let you, and you have to call back. So I got lucky, and on the first call, I got somebody who allowed me to open a second account. Make sure they annotate it on your account. Make sure they annotate it and say, hey, I'm giving you permission, but they're gonna typically give you stipulations that you have to follow, such as a different store name, a different banking account, a different company. So I couldn't have, if I had, I don't know, Raiken Inc. as my company, and then I had Raiken Inc. as my company as well on both accounts, that's against what they want. So they want all the details to be different, credit card information as a backup different. They want your, all the information, your address and everything. So I ended up creating a second account. I might just close down my first account because I'm really getting away from the thrifting model on Amazon and the retail arbitrage at this moment. I still love selling books, and I might end up just maybe working with a friend or something and just like using their account. But the thing about having two accounts, even though they're completely separate, if one account gets suspended or you get kicked off, it's typically gonna pull the other one down as well. It's the same with eBay. If you're drop shipping or you're selling on eBay, if you have multiple accounts, if you get one account suspended or kicked off, they're typically linked by the IP address, so on and so forth. So maybe using a VPN might be able to help to be able to separate that, but I'm still trying to figure that out. But those are the actions that I've taken so far in my wholesale business. This is a lot of the foundational stuff that you have to set up before you start, learning how to scout products, before you start calling brands, before you start negotiating deals with brands, before you start breaking down all the numbers. One of the things that I'm gonna be working on is actually putting together a value proposition website. And this is one of the main reasons why wholesale works right now. And one of the benefits that you can bring to the market as a wholesaler is a lot of these brands, especially the small brands, there's millions of products on Amazon. And a lot of you folks might be thinking, well, it's not that hard to sell on Amazon. I could sell on Amazon. These brands don't understand how to optimize keywords. They don't understand the importance of having really good copy and strong bullet points and having up to 7 pictures, and they don't know how to run PPC campaigns. They don't understand all the different parts of a successful Amazon listing and all the various things such as brand registry or enhanced content and just the different elements that make up an Amazon listing that could either benefit or hurt your conversion. So as a wholesaler, you can create a website and share all the value propositions that you bring. Right? Maybe you'll do competitor analysis for your clients. Maybe you'll do keyword research. Maybe you'll help with the pictures. Maybe you'll sign them up for enhanced brand content, right? There's a lot of different things that you can do. So I'm actually in the, in progress of getting a website set up, and I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to use maybe ClickFunnels, maybe so I could build leads at the same time, or maybe I'm going to use, I believe Wix is like a really cheap alternative. And that's one of the things I'm excited about is I already have a team in place that's really good at websites. I have a bunch of virtual assistants on my team that are really talented with that type of technical stuff. So sometimes when you're running a business that's completely different, you have skills that you built up that could then transfer over to another business. So instead of me spending 10, 20, 30, 100 hours building a website, I just pay someone $300, $400, build it out, find 4 or 5 websites that I like, model it, obviously tweak it to my own and go from there. So those are some of the actions I've taken so far in my wholesale business. Again, it's a lot of the groundwork, a lot of the foundational stuff, but I'll definitely keep you guys posted as I progress and I start to source leads and I start to contact wholesalers and I start to fall on my face because I know it's gonna happen. But I've really been enjoying the course that I'm taking right now, which is the Wholesale Formula. Now, the Wholesale Formula is a course that my good friends Dan and Dylan of the Wholesale Formula put together, and they've done over $25 million in sales over the last, I think, 5 or 6 years. And they actually have a whole entire team that runs their wholesale business now, which is really cool. This is a business that you could eventually sell and a business that you could outsource to your employees. There's so many parts of the business that you can get other people to do for you, which is really cool. So I've been going through their course. The course isn't available. I don't even think it's, you couldn't get it right now, even if you wanted. It usually opens up about once a year. So I'll just share with you guys my, my feedback on how the course works for me, but so far I'm really enjoying it. It's really laid out really nicely, and it gives you actionable steps as you go. So I'm not worried about step 26 right now or step 44. I'm worried about step 1, you know, naming my company, step 2, creating my account, step 3, forming my business, step 4, getting my resale certificate, step 5, getting my website set up. I'm just taking it one step at a time. And then, you know, I'm gonna just go from there. So really enjoying the course so far. I'll probably get Dan and Dylan on the channel in the next month or so to chit chat, and I'm definitely gonna connect with a lot more people selling wholesale on Amazon and bring them onto my channel and, you know, share the journey, not only to help myself as I go through these obstacles, but also help you guys as well, and bring some value. So with that being said, appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.